Everybody, all of you watching out there, thanks for joining today on a new Coffee is for Closers. And so I'm very honored to have Julie Blaylock here. She's got a fascinating history, and so I'm going to just let you talk about like your little background.
Well, thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. I'm Julie Blaylock. I'm the president and CEO of the Farragut West Knox Chamber of Commerce. I have been able to serve our chamber now for 13 years.
Wow.
We're now in year 14. Chambers of Commerce are a living organization because we are affected by what's going on out there in the economy,
Right.
out there with politics, federal elections, and things like that. So we experience the ebbs and flows naturally that all businesses do. I've served our chamber for 13 years. It is still the best job that I never knew I wanted. I'm really, really lucky that I have the responsibility of doing the work that I get to do, because it's all about service and it's all about helping people. And at the end of the day, if that's what I've done successfully, then I'm a happy camper.
Yeah.
That's always been part of my personality. Originally, I wanted to teach. I wanted to be a teacher, and I did get to be a teacher in secondary education, teaching adults at the college level, but it wasn't a profession that really paid the bills, and so I had to do some other things. One of the longest standing jobs I had before the chamber was working for a small local architecture firm. I actually got amicably laid off from my job at the architecture firm because the housing crisis back in 2008 just had this trickle-down effect to a lot of related industries. And a designer at the firm that I was at had a mother who was the head business editor at the Farragut Press. That individual had a very close relationship with the then president and CEO of the chamber,
Oh, wow.
who was looking to hire somebody.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Wow. Timing and connections.
Yes, all of that.
Well, it's kind of interesting because a lot of times, there's been, we've experienced a lot over recent years, right? Economically, the cycles.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a moment of time where an individual may experience that trough. I mean, they're down there. But you always have to remain positive, and that's one of the things I really love about you is the positive attitude you bring to the chamber and all the small businesses. I appreciate that. I know a lot of people do. Okay, look, I want you to answer these 3 questions, okay? And they're in every video we do here. And the number one thing is, what's your why? Why do you do what you do?
I do what I do because my heart is a servant leader's heart. Solved a problem, gave them a resource that they didn't know how to get, then I'm not happy.
Okay.
And one person for me is never enough. It's always about who's the next person I can help, who's the next person I help. And what that help looks like can be completely different.
With that and said, can you give me an example of how that's played out, like literally in maybe over the last 13 years, maybe just one, not name or face, but just like an example that you could share where that service led it something beyond.
One example that was someone had just moved here from out of state, which we've had a lot of people relocating here. They were having issues with one of their children, and they needed resources for that child, and they didn't know anybody here.
Okay.
And so we were able to point them in the direction of some readily available resources where they could help that family member.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that connection. And that's the circle of like, a little circle of trust. I mean, whatever you want to call it, right? That's good stuff. Okay, so thank you for sharing that. Number 2, what problem do you solve?
I think the problem that we solve for businesses and individuals is being that nucleus. We are a great convener of resources. Any and every resource that you could possibly think of. If you're a small business, especially if you've come from the corporate world and that's all you've known, but you've never been an entrepreneur before, it's a whole different ballgame out there.
Oh.
So you don't know what you don't know. And if you've left the corporate world, or if you're just starting up from scratch, you don't have the relationships and the connections yet. The chamber, however, has worked for over 3, almost 4 decades to build relationships with municipal, state, local governments, utilities, telecom, service providers, advising resources, lenders, and we make it really easy for any business to cut through what would be tons of emails and cold calls
Yeah.
to get what they need quickly. And we're also really, really good at matching up a need and a resource.
Yeah, true. Great resource, people. Great resource. The chamber, whether it's the Farragut West Knox, I mean, there's a lot of great chambers around, and you all talk together and work together, so it's really cool. All right, number 3. The final question is, what do people experience in working with you? What do they walk away saying?
What I hear and what I want to always stay the same, no matter how big we get, is I want them to walk away feeling like, number one, they're not alone. It can be really, really lonely as a business owner or a new professional out there. So I want them to feel that they're not alone. You know, the struggle is happening in other places and they have people they can lean on. 2, I want them to feel like they're cared for, that we welcome them coming and asking us questions, asking for feedback, giving us feedback, and we want them to feel like, to the degree that it's appropriate, that we are something of an extended family, you know, a business family, if you will.
Yeah, it's just a great thing. Involve yourself in it. You'd be surprised. I would encourage you to, reach out to the chamber here. But again, if people want to connect, how do they do that with you?
There's a couple ways they can connect. They can always go to our website, farragutchamber.com, and find a ton of information on there. They can call our office at 865-675-7057 and ask us whatever questions they have. They can also just stop by the office during regular business hours, and usually one of my staff is going to be available to talk to them, answer their questions, talk about membership. Yeah. I also invite them, if I may plug,
sure. Go for it.
I want people to reach out to our fellow chamber ambassadors, which are our volunteers that make our staff look and function a lot more effectively and in a more maximizing way than we do. So Dave is an ambassador. He didn't mention that. But our ambassadors are great points of contact. So you can reach out to someone like Dave and give you some information.
Indeed. I mean, I'd love to do it. And we don't bite, guys, so don't worry about that. We don't. We welcome you with open arms. Join the chamber. Check it out. And you can become a guest, just like show up and just experience some of the events and networking. A grand opening. We're doing a ribbon cutting on a new business that we're celebrating their success. That's fun stuff. And we're all trying to keep it local as well. I appreciate your time today. Thank you for everything you do for our communities. Thanks for joining us today on Coffee is for Closers, and have a blessed holiday season. Bye-bye.